is day 8. My dog has tried to nest into my suitcase. He's been scratching at the fabric and thinks it's his new bed. That happens as well every time I take the guitar out. He ends up nesting or making a little cave in my guitar case. And I'll often find like his treats, his bones hidden in there or in my suitcase, or he also puts it in the laundry hamper. Anyway, I'm almost ready to go. I've packed 6 hard-boiled eggs and also 4 cloud buns and some brown butter bites, which is brown butter put into an ice cube tray and then into the freezer so that it stays solid and so that when I go through security, it counts as food and not a gel or liquid. I've had really good luck so far. Haven't had to throw them out. Which brings me to today. Yesterday, after I did the clip, I noticed that I got really bloated. And I think it's because I didn't drink quite enough water for 2 days, also didn't have enough fat. So I have been catching up the last 2 days, and then this morning, finally, another TMI moment, but it was glorious. I feel a lot lighter. The bloating's gone away. And that's another thing in the community that we have mostly noticed after we've been on this diet for a while, or sorry, this lifestyle for a while. We don't pass gas nearly as frequently, if ever. And also the bowel movements change. So your BMs will be drastically reduced. When I'm eating really well, so far I've gone like 4 days without having to go and no bloating. This time because of the vacation and the boat tour and the 2 cases of contamination in my food. After that beach burger, it did all kinds of tension headaches again and then bloating. So the bloating's gone down after this morning because I finally got enough fat in my diet and enough water. So if you're feeling super lethargic, if you're not going to the or rather if you're going difficultly to the washroom, you're either not getting enough fat or you're not getting enough water or a combination of both. But it's mostly the fat. Which brings me to this amazing documentary. I'm loving it now. I'm loving the opportunity to get more educated, to get more informed. So there's a link to this documentary that really helped me get over the fat hurdle because we're so conditioned to think that fat is bad for us, even though we logically know, for those of us who know, that it's good for us. It feeds our brain, it feeds our internal organs, it lubricates our whole system. It's good for us. It's fuel for us if we're eating correctly. Even though we know that, there are still all those little voices of conditioning that are whispering in our heads, and to the point where I know I'm thinner than I want to be, and still sometimes I'm like, I can't eat this. This is too fat. I'm going to get fat. No, you don't get fat off fat. You get fat off sugar and carbohydrates. You don't get fat on fat. You get fat on sugar and carbohydrates. So watching this documentary helped me get past that hurdle because in the first few days of eating this way, I really had to force myself to swallow down the fat and I didn't enjoy it. Those fat bites I've been obsessing over, the beef crisps, fat crisps. That's definitely one way to ingest it pleasantly with a bit of salt, but also just knowing that it's good for me. And what I've noticed is when I do get a good bite or I'm eating like all the beef off of my steaks, when I do bite into that, what happens is the water gets even better because I can feel the water getting sucked into the tissues as I swallow it. And so I know it's hydrating me better because of that fat as well. So that's my theory anyway. I don't have any scientific proof behind that yet, but that's my theory. This morning, the other good news is even though I was bloated, I got the same kind of happiness high as I used to get from taking my natural anti-inflammatories and painkillers. It's 8 a.m. and I'm happy again. That was amazing. So I woke up this morning before my alarm clock again. I put on some music. I gave my dog his breakfast and walked him and had a huge grin on my face first thing in the morning as soon as I properly woke up. I've been going out onto the terrace every morning as the sun goes up to try to get my first light, get some vitamins into my skin, so going outside with the least amount of clothes on possible while still remaining decent and just sucking in those nutrients from the sun. Other than that, I had the most glorious breakfast, and I think that's where I really hit my stride, was finally being able to eat till I'm truly full and satiated. So it was this morning 4 soft-boiled eggs, 4. And then I had 3 cloud buns with at least a tablespoon of butter on each. And then I had bone broth mug, so a full mug of bone broth mixed with short rib broth from my soup yesterday. Then on top of that, I had 3 slices of, so I call it beef bacon because I take the short rib, the thinly sliced, and I put it on the air fryer setting for bacon, and it really does crisp up the fat like bacon. 3 pieces of that, the 4 eggs, the 3 cloud buns, the butter, the broth. That was breakfast, and I felt like $1,000,000. I still feel amazing, and this is several hours later. I don't feel any panic over traveling today. I don't feel any panic over the dog, over anything, and I've been so motivated today. I've done a bunch of video editing, catching up on my emails with zero anxiety, which is, for those of you who knew me before, it's quite epic. See how it goes on the plane with my beef jerky and boiled eggs.